Your voice and your aesthetic. Let's just do a test. Let's say that we take out your face and your name from your page, let's say your Instagram profile. Would people still be able to recognize you? So that's a question that will give us clarity if your personal brand is strong or not. Maybe that your work is already so recognized that yes, people will know that's you even without your name and your face in there. Maybe not. Maybe something that we're gonna start working towards. So you already have your voice, you already have your aesthetic. It's just making sure that's coming out consistently so then it's recognizable. Whether that is the choice of clothes that you wear, the spaces where you are. That's something new on my personal branding since I'm on my new studio. And that's now getting recognized as Bianca Pintan, and the space that I'm often at. And to bring in, it's not something that you need to necessarily create and preempt. It's what already you have there. And for instance, living where I live now in Australia, there's a specific climate, there's a specific dressing code that I have here. If I was living in another place, let's say in Switzerland, the light would be different and the way that I would dress would be different. And all of that would organically add into my personal branding. So understanding that that's really what is already available and who you are is just tuning into that to really keep putting that same vibe out there. And then understanding that your voice is not just your captions, but it's really how you express yourself, your way of telling things. I have a little tendency of over-explaining myself. I talk a lot, I go into detail. It's funny because in Australia, people are often very short and they don't get deep into things, whereas I am from Brazil, I go into the nitty-gritty, the details. So if someone asks me, what am I doing today? Instead of some personal things. Today I'm recording a video because I'm creating a course, that's this, and that. That's just who I am. And that's how I express myself online too. So I think that's the key, understanding that and putting it out there. And then understanding that sometimes we filter ourselves. We do have different versions of ourselves. Myself as a mom, as an artist, as a creative, as a social person in different settings. And online at times it's hard to find which version of ourselves we're putting out. So getting clarity on that you can also have a hybrid all-in versions of yourself when you're expressing yourself online. It's just understanding that whatever feels comfortable feels good, and there are the little things that are slightly uncomfortable that is really being authentic. That goes to that piece of judgment that we spoke before. Understand that and find who you are and free yourself to be who you are in all layers. I think that's really key. And going to your aesthetics. Your aesthetics is really what your eye likes to look at, what looks pretty for you. And to bring that as an example, let's say just recently we were building a new house. And there are lots of things that I like the look of, but it's just not me. It's not something that I would like in my place. And that's an easy way to think. For instance, I really like the look of this cottage and the white painted items and fences and things like that, but it's just not for me. It's not for me in this project. Or I really like that black house, looks really cool, but it's not something that I would like for me. So in that way, you understand things that you like and you appreciate the aesthetic, but they are not an expression of your personal aesthetics. So that is a clarity that we need to have, so then it's just easier to get it out there. So that's understanding that you do not create your aesthetic. It's not like creating a brand. It's something that you already have. You just let it come out. And then with consistency means that online, we don't need to have everything identical. We don't need to have a branding that's like a big brand, that everything is on the same font, everything is the same. Becomes a bit too cold and too structured. And so you have a level of consistency, but you have room to move. You can try new captions, you can try new fonts, you can try new things as you go, because that's gonna give you much more clarity. And sometimes for, let's say, a specific piece of content that is part of what you're creating but goes a bit out of the day-to-day, you can also put something special for that. So just keep that in mind. It's freedom, is not to get yourself locked into something. And then I want you to think and to bring this idea of modeling or remodeling accounts that you know about them, that you know their work and you know their voice, even if there wasn't a name or a face. And that will help you to understand a bit better when a sense of voice and aesthetic is strong and is into pretty much all the pieces of content. And one clear way, like when you say voice, that's a very specific word, but that means the way that you write, the way that you show. But when we think about voice, is that very unique expression of ourselves that people recognize from far. So someone that knows me, hear my voice, even though they don't see me, they know that's me. And they probably notice my accent, my way of talking. So that's what we're talking about it. When you can see without looking and you recognize, that's what we want, to be recognizable. So then it's much easier for people to remember us, to think about us, to know about our work. So that's the key piece of this lesson. And then basically the whole idea is like you already have a lot of material and things that you have in there. Even if you are starting something from scratch, a new career, a new collection, all of that, even that start is really important. Let's say, even if you want to say for your public now that you are learning about showing up on Instagram, and you can show you watching something with a notebook, and that's a new engagement that people are going to get connected to your story of someone that is actually learning how to show up there. And then as you start showing up more, they understand your journey and they understand that you're developing your aesthetic, and people actually get much more connected to you when you open yourself a bit more and be a bit more vulnerable on where you are. And if you are confident with your voice, your aesthetic and all of that, that's great. You can just keep getting clarity on that. And one thing that I want to bring up, and we're going to have on the workbook later at the end of the chapter, is if all of that is a bit blurry, a bit conceptual, a bit too much, you can also get AI, and I'm going to get some prompts there to help you on this search for your voice and aesthetic. Because it's something that's already there, you just don't have that clear, or you don't know how to describe it, but it's already there. So that's the exercise for now, getting that full clarity on your voice and aesthetic. Because even looking at your page and doing a little audit, you can see from what you have there, what is already aligned and what is not quite there. And just write it down, because there's so much information, otherwise it just goes missing. But that's it for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.